Hi guys, it's Becky, and in my last video, I made this choker slash wrap bracelet, and I used some Tealy beads, these hot pink pyramid beads that I got from Beads to Live By, and some silver silk pearlesque chain. And I just wanted, in this video, to make some earrings to go with them using the pyramid beads that I had left after my project. And so it's a really simple, really quick project. And if you have no bead weaving experience, you can make these because it is, again, a really simple project. I'm going to be using this pearl drop bead as well as one of the pyramid beads, and then I've just got some black 11/0 seed beads over here. I'm going to be using a wide eye needle because that's what I'm most comfortable with. If you are comfortable and familiar with English style beading needles, go ahead and use that. It doesn't take very much thread, so I'm just going to pull off about a foot of thread from my spool. It does not take very much thread for this. So if you've got like, a foot left over from one of your beading projects, you don't want to toss it, keep it, and you can use it for this earring project. So I've also got an ear wire that we're going to attach at the end. Like I said, this is a very simple project. I am going to use a stop bead. Let me adjust my beading needle. There we go. All right, so I'm going to grab a stop bead. I'm just going to use this bead. Any bead that is a little bit different from your project will work for a stop bead. And for that, you want like maybe 4 inches of thread left after you go through the bead. And then you're just going to go through the bead in the same direction as you've already sewn through it. And it just makes a little loop around the bead with the thread that you can pull out later, and it'll just keep my beads from falling off the end. And I'm going to start at the top, this little loop here. I'm doing just beads here, but you could pick up a couple of seed beads, sew through a wire guardian, and then pick up a few more seed beads. That's also an option. I feel like I really don't need it because it's not very heavy, so it's not going to be putting a lot of wear on either the beads or these, and it just adds a nice circle to the design. So for this, I'm going to pick up 7 seed beads. You could pick up more if you want. 5 seed beads didn't feel like the right balance for me with 5 seed beads. The little top arc was a little small, so I'm using 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let me make sure that we've got this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm missing 1. This is why you always go back and count. There we go. There's my 7 beads. Let's scooch these a little out of the way so that my camera doesn't keep focusing on those. So I've got my 7 beads on here, and I've pushed them down to where my stop bead is. And I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to put it through the pyramid bead. And at this point, it doesn't matter which way you go through the pyramid bead because it will orient itself whichever way you want to be, back or front. We have not put the ear wire in yet, so we don't need that. So I've got my 7 beads, I've got my pyramid bead, and I'm going to pick up 3 more seed beads, like so. Push them down to the end. And now I'm going to get my drop on here. So I'm going to go through the drop from the narrow end towards the fat bottom, Fat bottom beads, they make the beading world go round, right? Let's pretend that that's a thing. Now that it's on here next to this, I'm going to pick up one 11-0. You can, use a different color if you want, but I like the way it kind of top and bottoms kind of surrounds it. It frames it a little bit better. Now I'm going to go back through my drop. I am not going to go back through this 11-0. I'm just going to go through the drop, and that's so that this 11-0 can anchor. Why are you not going through my bead? There we go. That 11-0 will be my anchor for my thread, and that's going to hold this bead on here. Now, if it's a little loose when you do it, that's fine, because we will definitely tighten this up when we make our other passes. So far, I've got one side done, and I've got my drop on. All right, so what I'm going to do now is go up the other side, and to do that, I'm going to pick up 3 more seed beads. Why is this more complicated than it needs to be? Hold your needle right, Becky. All right, I got my needle held right. I don't know what to do with my hands. All right, come here, seed bead. 1, 2. Maybe I should have lunch. Maybe that's why I'm not. All right, so I'm going up through the other side of my pyramid bead to make a little Y. All right, now I'm going to turn this into a circle by sewing down through these 7 beads from I'm going to go in the same direction that this thread originally went through. So the first bead that I added, I'm going to sew through that. The second bead, the third bead, all of that, and I'm going to go all the way down. And you can have it come out here, or you can keep going if you can finagle it all the way through the pyramid bead and even through this, because we're going to go, you can do it in stops and starts. You can pull it through these 7 beads and then through the pyramid bead and then through these 3 beads. We're going to be coming out. We're not going to go back into the drop, because this is where we do our multiple passes, and we're just going to tighten up this design a little bit. All right, so now that I've got that in there, I'm going to remove this stop bead because it's kind of getting in the way of this closing up. I'm just going to pick the thread out. Actually, if I push this thread in, pushing it in opens up that, and then I can pull the thread out and pull off that stop bead. Now, I'm going to pull both of these in the same direction, and that should tighten up the entire thing a little bit. Why are you like this? All right, there we go. Now I've got these beads next to it here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew back through all my beads again. Not all of them, not this one. I'm going to go up these 3 beads on the other side next to where I came out of those other ones. And you can do this all in, like, these beads on this side, you're not going to get all of those all in one shot. It's just not going to happen. So I'm just going to go up through like that first one. Get a little tighten. And I'm going to go through all of these beads, these 7 beads, one more time. So this makes 3 passes through the beads. I'm using 6-pound fireline for this, by the way. I should have mentioned that at the beginning. So 3 passes through the beads is fine for this. And then one last pass through this other side. I'm going to go up through these 3 beads, up through the pyramid bead, and I'm going to come out of the pyramid bead next to where the beginning of my thread was, and I'm just going to tie these 2 threads together and then burn them down. And like I said, this is a quick and easy bead weaving project. All you have to do is sew it through a couple of times, go around a few times, and my thread is catching right here. Just making sure that the loop doesn't catch on the beads when I'm closing it. I want it to be on the string, not on the beads. So I've got one, and then just as a surgeon's loop, going through and wrapping it around twice. You can do a square knot if you want. That's fine. And so now I've got it knotted. And there's like, some folks don't like to knot their work. I am fine with knots, especially when it is something that's not going to be having a lot of movement or a lot of wear. And I'm just going to burn down this thread end. Burn down. And I can put my ear wire on, and now I have a pair of earrings that I can wear with my choker when I'm wearing it as a choker and not when I'm wearing it as a bracelet. Or I could wear it when I'm wearing it as a bracelet. That's fine too. Nothing wrong with it. All right, so that is earring number 2. Like I said, it's a real quick, real easy way, if you've got leftover beads from a project, to make matching earrings, is just to go through with some seed beads, attach a drop, and then you've got your earrings. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Bye!